Welcome once again, friends, to J. Buckley's Hour of Power Ministry. I'm Pastor J. Buckley, and I will be your host today. Well, quite frankly, I'm always your host, whether you like it or not. But, well, apparently you do like it because you're watching me right now, aren't you? See how I figured that out so quickly? Anyway, we try to bring a little lightheartedness, a little inspiration, a little insight into what is seemingly an increasingly wacky world out there. I mean, just reading the daily newspaper can throw you into a tizzy, don't you think? As one man put it, don't get your theology from the newspaper, but rather be thankful for your theology when you read it. And as another man put it, the character of Bull Meacham from the great Santini there, he was reading his daily newspaper and he's getting a little frustrated and everything, and he blurts out, "God, why did you fill the world with so many idiots?" Well, that's probably not exactly a Christian sentiment, but, we've all felt that way at times, haven't we, dear ones? Heck, I feel that way about myself sometimes. But that brings me to this very morning. Pastor Jay was enjoying his cup of coffee in the breakfast nook and reading his daily news. And how many of you know the daily news and the goings-on of mankind are odd enough without being subject to an advertisement to come to a seminar to hear about a new God who's going to help us all out. So Pastor Jay has decided to spend a little time on what we would like to call here our false God alert segment. Woo, woo, false God alert, beep, boom. If we had the technology, we'd do the false God, whoop, 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 alert segment. But, we can't really afford that because some of you have been a little stingy on the checks, sending those donations. And so you're just going to have to imagine that part. So here I am, drinking my morning coffee, the sun streaming through the windows in the breakfast nook, Mrs. Pastor J puttering around the kitchen, and there, right in my newspaper, I find this advertisement. Could we get a tight shot on this, please? It says, "The moment has come. Could the world crisis be the tipping point for transformation?" Well, we all like to be transformed and everything. We know we're in a big mess out there we want to get out of, so let's read on, shall we? People everywhere are awakening to the reality that the old ways of greed and corruption, greed and competition no longer work. The times demand an entirely new approach. Okay, I'm okay with taking a swipe at greed. I mean, nobody likes greed. Greed's like a weed, you just want to, pull it out. I mean, it's hard to find a proponent of greed, Maybe there's one guy back in the 80s there in that Wall Street madness. I can't remember his name. I think he actually said greed is good, But I hope he said prison food is good because, I think he went to jail. But I mean, greed has a way of kind of working itself out. I mean, you think of King Louis back there in the 1700s. There were a few days he didn't, do so well. As the people to say, hey, you guys are, eating scones off of a tea tray worth $250,000 made by Lalique, and we're eating the cheap cut of dog, and then they rise up and throw them out and stuff, and kind of takes care of the problem there. But well, anyway, competition. Now, competition is another issue, you see, because without competition, you think about this, Apple would never have created their iPod, huh? And Microsoft would never have created Windows. Google probably wouldn't exist. And well, to bring it home a little bit closer, you'd probably be paying $25 for a loaf of bread. So, that's Pastor Jay's 2 cents on the concept of competition. I mean, I actually think it's kind of good. But anyway, so let's read on, shall we? This is the moment awaited by Maitreya. That's Maitreya, just in case, you're not familiar with this being. The world teacher, capital W, capital T. For his public emergence, says Benjamin Creme. And here's Benjamin Creme. You probably can't see him too well, but got a nice head of hair and everything, which kind of makes me a little uptight, I mean, this is like that last segment we were talking about how God's not fair, Mick Jagger would be poor, I'd be rich, and then if God was fair, I'd have his hair and he'd have mine. I mean, it's something I have to get over, I guess. But anyway, so he's leaning forward and he's going to tell you something, and he's going to. So let's see what he's going to tell us here. Maitreya. Now we're going to find out who Maitreya is here. That's good. Is a colossal cosmic avatar with limitless love and immeasurable wisdom. Well, now that limitless love and immeasurable wisdom sounds like somebody I already know. You know what I mean? But anyway, and at the same time is a friend and brother of humanity. Okay. Pastor Jay has to make a couple of comments here. Number one, I'm a little concerned that this Benjamin Creme and Maitreya are linked together, and I'll tell you why. Maitreya is M-A-I-T-R-E. I already spelled that for you and everything. M-A-I is the prefix of that nice, Hawaiian tropical drink with the rum and the coconut and the pineapple juice, You put that all in the blender, and it comes with a little umbrella. I just happen to have one right here, woo! When you toss a few of those down there on the beach, the sand looks better, the water's beautiful, the girls, well, we'll skip that part, but, everything looks great. Now, Creme, Benjamin Creme, C-R-E-M-E. Okay? Now, I'm not making this up. His name there is the word that precedes a couple of flavored liqueurs. For example, creme de menthe, that's a mint liqueur, and then creme de cacao, or in this case, maybe creme de cuckoo. So Pastor Jay worries a little bit that somebody had, a couple of too many Mai Tais there, tossed down some creme de menthe, and boom, saw an avatar. So concern number two. Let's just say for a moment that this Maitreya does exist. All right. It says here, this is the time awaited by him for his public emergence. Okay. Where's old Mai Tai been all this time? I mean, if he's the world teacher, capital W, capital T, where's he been? I mean, don't you think there's been some times possibly in history that we could have used his wisdom? Oppressions here, genocides there, wars and rumors of war. I mean, what's he been doing? Playing golf, using the smaller planets as golf balls? Or maybe he's been on the 19th hole having a few pops with Benjamin Creme. Oh, well, there's only one last thing I have to say about this particular part of the advertisement. And that is, aren't you glad that old Maitreya is a friend and brother of humanity? It says that here, quote, unquote. Because, if you were a little ticked off or something, a little hacked, I mean, he might just come down here with his ray gun and obliterate us all. Ack, 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 Maitreya attacks. Ack. What, Marty? Oh, my producer, I'm sorry, Marty's waving his arms frantically at me, telling me that we're out of time. I'm amazed how fast this went. But what we'll do is Marty, I understand. I saw you. and if you could stop, I think it's a little distracting here, trying to do a little program here. So I'll wrap it up. What we'll do is we'll roll it over into the next program, and maybe we'll call it False God Alert Segment 2. Number 2, or TOO also. Works both ways. Marty, if you don't stop doing that, I'm going to shoot you with this thing, really. I'm going to, So anyway, it's this important thing of false gods you need to know about, and Pastor Jay is here for you. And so anyway, may the power of God continue to be with you. Remember, God loves you. And so, Marty! Oh my gosh, this thing, holy! How do you turn this thing off? Marty? Marty! Hey, can we get some help in here? Oh, is that smoke coming out of his mouth?